Did you know that Charlotte's Web was once challenged because some people thought talking animals were unnatural and therefore offensive?
Or that green eggs and ham was challenged in the 1960s for supposedly promoting communist
Mm.
ideas.
And believe it or not, even Where's Waldo land on the banned list because of a tiny background image on one single page.
These challenges might sound strange today, but they remind us that almost any book can end up being questioned.
That's right. In this episode of Library-ish, we're talking about banned books and intellectual freedom, what's been challenged, why it matters, and how libraries help keep these stories available for everyone. Let's go. Banned books. What's the first time you remember ever learning about
Oh,
book bans?
goodness. I was shocked to hear why Harry Potter was banned.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's funny actually. I was reading the reasons why, and it's banned for quote unquote its display of real magic. And I sat there and I went, real? Like if I go
Yeah.
Accio whatever,
Yeah.
does it happen?
Yeah.
You know,
It's the train station with the wall and with the
right?
yeah.
If I run into that brick wall, will I go through into into Hogwarts?
Right.
I just couldn't wrap my mind around real
Are
magic.
you a secret muggle?
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe the Minister of Magic accidentally let something slip in that one, but that was my first experience with it where I'm just like, but why?
I think the first time I ever really engaged with the concept in a way that was meaningful was, I'm going to bring up Ray Bradbury again. I am so sorry. Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah.
Which is like the
I
classic
love that book.
when I was in my absolutely rabid Ray Bradbury phase there in 5th grade, like reading about the burning of the book and people memorizing entire books to be able to
carry that knowledge.
carry that information. Just so powerful to me, to this idea that someone would feel that, I mean, we all know ideas are powerful, but that someone would try to deprive people of access to concepts.
Right.
It's mind-blowing to me.
It really is. I remember reading Fahrenheit 451. It was required reading in my high school. And I remember reading that and I remember thinking, why? Why go to all that effort just to take away a story? Just to take away a story. I mean, it didn't make sense, the control that needed to be there. Do you know what I mean?
And he very much highlights the fact that it's just random classics.
Yeah.
It's not anything salacious. It's just random classics.
Reading tastes differ with people, just like food tastes differ with people.
Our whole reading is food thing.
Reading is food. I will die on this hill. I will 100% die on this hill. Reading is eating. They are synonymous. But no, I mean, they're different tastes for different people. And if you don't like that particular thing, don't read that particular thing. You don't need to make it so other people can't read that particular thing.
Let's go ahead and talk about some stats, right?
Yeah.
So ALA in 2024, they're always combining stats. They're an incredible organization that works with libraries and protects the interests of the public by making sure that libraries provide equal access to all public members, all community members across the country. Incredible organization. In 2024, there were 821 reported attempts to censor library materials. And those attempts included 2,452 unique titles that were listed in those challenges. Unusually, and this may be something we're going to go over in more detail, actually a lot of challenges go unreported for many different reasons. We'll go over some of that in our discussion today. What about PEN America? They're an incredible organization that has been protecting the rights of journalists, writers, and artists for over 100 years. So
Oh, they collected data from 2023 to 2024. They found that 60% of banned titles were from young adult audiences, and with a significant targeting of children's literature, including picture books. Everybody's always really scared about what the kids are reading. And, and I do understand that to an extent. As a mom, because I've mentioned this before, I have kids. I have 3 kids, 3 wonderful daughters. And I do kind of, I want to monitor what they read. And I don't like them to read, certain things that have certain themes and stuff like that.
Age appropriateness is a
Age
real
appropriate,
thing.
100%. Targeted topics, oddly enough, were grief, mental health, identity, and 64% of banned picture books featured LGBTQ plus characters. That hits hard.
Well, it's interesting because so much of what our country is about is celebrating individualism,
Right.
celebrating the individual for the freedom they have to
Mhm.
express themselves. And then you see a statistic like that. Also, final statistic, 44% of banned history books and biology books actually feature BIPOC individuals.
Mhm.
BIPOC is an acronym for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. So it's an inclusivity acronym. We're about celebrating the individual until we're not.
Yeah.
We're going to talk also about some of the history of banning because, certain things come to mind when we think about what a ban looks like historically. I mean, probably one of the most famous censorings of information that ever occurred was at the Library of
It had to be a
Alexandria.
library. It had to be a library,
Yes,
Yeah.
and I mean, that actually happened in 640 CE. That's the Common Era, or AD, depending on how you look at it. So it was, in those early times, and it basically was a Caliph Omar burned all 200,000 volumes in that library at Alexandria. And in doing so, the quote attributed to him is, "If these writings of the Greeks agree with the book of God, they are useless and need not be preserved. If they disagree, they are pernicious and ought to be destroyed."
Oh gosh.
And in burning those books, the Caliph provided 6 months' fuel to warm the city's baths. That may be the most famous. It's not the oldest.
My favorite's China.
Well, that's the
next
one, and it's
oldest on
Emperor
record.
Shi Huangshi. This particular emperor buried 450 Confucian scholars alive because he wanted to control the historical narrative. And, he who has the power controls history.
Yeah.
We all know this. In 212 BCE is when this happened. And he burned all the books in his kingdom, but he kept one copy of each thing.
Yeah.
And put it in his personal library, which was then destroyed upon his death.
Tell me you're controlling and petty without telling me you're controlling and
I
petty.
mean,
well, the thing that kills me is that he buried people alive for the knowledge they had.
Yeah.
He actively murdered scholars for the knowledge they had.
And for their ideas.
100%. And then he kept it.
Yeah.
He kept one of each thing. Yeah. So it's just like, my dude.
and interestingly enough, we know about Confucian ideas. It didn't stop anything.
No, it never does.
So it's interesting that the attempt to stop information, to stop the spread of knowledge, it doesn't really work.
No, it really doesn't. And dirty laundry is always aired out in the end. It really always is. You're never going to hide everything completely.
No.
There's always strings. You can kill all your scholars, but you still have one copy of each thing in your back room.
Because, well, you can't kill an idea.
No.
You can't, you can't lobotomize an entire population. It's just not going to work.
Which brings us back to Ray Bradbury.
Yeah.
You can't kill. You can burn all the books you want, but you can't kill an idea.
Nope. Just in a speed run. Caligula in 35 CE banned Greek books because he didn't like their ideas about freedom from the Hellenistic period. There was this list created in 1559 CE by Pope Paul IV, and it was the Index Librarium Prohibitorum. And it was this definitive list that Roman Catholics were not allowed to read these books. And this list was valid for 400 years. Some of the modern items that were on this list: Robinson Crusoe by Danielle Defoe, Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. So then also talking about England, they banned Sir Walter Raleigh's book, A History of the World, which is about his, coming to America and traveling all over the world, because it was too saucy, which is hard to imagine.
Too saucy.
And Shakespeare, several of his plays were banned because they upset people, including King Lear and Richard II, by the British Parliament. There was even a law that insisted that plays had to be censored by the government directly. And it's where the term boulderize comes from, because that was the name of the prime minister, or the minister that was doing the censoring. Was actually his wife that he had doing the censoring, but she was the one actually doing the red penning. But it's where boulderizing, the term, comes from. It's actually the censorship of saucy things based on government oversight.
Where's Chaucer when you need him?
I mean,
where's that Miller's Tale? And if you're gonna get saucy.
So let's talk about, let's move on to some of the surprising titles.
Yeah.
Because honestly, some of the books that have been banned over time, we brought up Robinson Crusoe, Les Mis, Shakespeare. In the modern era, what are some of the ones that really surprised you? Let's do a little back and forth.
Sure.
Because we like to do a little back and forth with it.
Let's start out with The Giving Tree.
There you go.
The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein is a story where, you know what, the first time I read this as a grown-up, it made me cry a little bit. Because
I can't. I blubber like a fool.
It's got a moral to it, when I read it, I see the moral as you need to set clear boundaries. Because if you just keep giving and you just keep giving and you just keep giving, people will just keep taking and they'll keep taking and they'll keep taking. And before you know it, you're a little stump. Just happy to have, seriously.
No, it's so true.
That's how the book is. The tree becomes a stump and they're just content to have the boy that grew up, the boy that they took care of sit on them. And,
right.
And to me, it taught me that lesson of, oh gosh, I need to set boundaries a bit better, which is a hard lesson to teach people that are natural people pleasers, which, spoiler alert.
Can't relate.
Right. I mean, that was one that really surprised me. And it was banned. I believe the reason that The Giving Tree was banned is because of that thing, because it was a female tree giving and giving and giving, and the boy taking and taking and taking, and they thought that was not an unrealistic view, an unfair
view.
No
misandry here.
The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein was a big surprise to me. That one, I was surprised that one was banned. And then, oh my gosh, can I give you another one, or do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay, go ahead.
So we talked about Green Eggs and Ham, and we sort of just glossed over that. So here's the reason why it was actually banned.
This is actually a great reason. You guys are gonna love this.
Yeah, it was it was banned in China. And this was, it was banned in 1965, and it stayed banned until 1991 because it portrayed early Marxism and promoted communist ideas.
In China.
So, I mean, how someone trying to avoid, I think about, I'm a little neurospicy. I think about our friends with ARFID, which is, if you don't know what ARFID is, a lot of people who are neurodivergent may have difficulty eating certain foods. And so they either always eat the same thing, or they may avoid eating because a texture, a smell, or something. Bananas. They just can't. Yeah,
I can't do the mushy bananas.
They just can't stomach addressing that food. And sometimes ARFID, a diagnosis comes when the kinds of food they can eat are so narrow that it's almost like having anorexia. I, uh, green eggs and ham is about somebody avoiding eating something that they don't know.
Yeah.
And then trying it and going, oh, it's okay. It's like a tool for moms to get kids to eat their vegetables. But apparently not. Apparently it's actually about Marxist ideology.
Spoiler alert, you can find Green Eggs and Ham in our adult nonfiction section right next to the Marxist theology.
Yeah, right next to Carl. Right? I mean,
I like how you stop right there and you're like, really?
Yeah.
It's that's actually a really fun one. I like the fact.
It's just it's
just so dumb.
I'm sorry. It's kind of arbitrary.
It really is.
But go ahead, pick another one.
That one's great. So this one was just challenged, and I think it was banned in certain states, like recently. Pinkalicious.
Yes,
yeah, Pinkalicious.
She's so cute.
Pinkalicious is an adorable children's character that she always wears pink, and they actually turned her into a PBS show a while back, and she's just all the kids love Pinkalicious. And there's a ton of picture books. One of them has a picture apparently of her in like an underclothes, you know, and so they said that is inappropriate and it needs to be banned. And I sat there and went, okay, sure, okay.
Are we sure?
Are we sure? That one really surprised me. I was actually really shocked by that one. And that's relatively new. That's like within this year.
Well, and that's very much that same thing of it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
So it's not a reality. So it's like the Harry Potter thing and the thing. It's not real.
It's not real.
Fiction.
At all.
I'm going to talk actually about a couple. There is what would you call it? A trend, a trope of banning books that include talking animals. So talking animals are considered blasphemous by some folks. And so this has led to challenges against several books, including Charlotte's Web, Animal Farm, Winnie the Pooh.
That's a great one.
So what you have is none of these books are thematically the same. There is no thematic rationale behind this particular challenge. It is purely because these fictional books that use animals as avatars to expose people to concepts about human behavior in a way that is gentle and in a way that sort of can make sense and be better assimilated than going, this is Johnny, this is Jay, and this have been challenged.
Yeah, you know, that just kills me. There are so many picture books that have talking animals in them. I mean, Arthur is an aardvark that talks,
absolutely.
You know? I mean, Pete the cat. I mean, so that's how kids relate. That's how they relate to these things.
And it broadens that. You know, that's one of the reasons why they used monsters on Sesame Street was because they wanted to show diversity, but didn't want to be limited to just the human rainbow that we have, because things change and people change and things evolve. When you use monsters or you use animals or you can make points about things without it being so incendiary until it's incendiary.
Yeah.
Would you like to choose another book?
You know, there's one that I absolutely love, and I've talked about this book multiple times during this podcast. The Hate U Give is a YA novel, and it was inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement, which is the very reason it's been banned. It was banned because it shines a light on Black Lives Matter, the movement, and because it seems anti-police. It's a lovely book. It's a young adult book, and it has young adult themes, and it has all these things happening to these particular characters that happened around this movement.
Yeah.
And I thought it was absolutely delightful. And to ban a book that occurs, that is, displaying this is what's happening right now to these young adults, and then be like, no, they can't know about that.
Right.
But it's currently happening right now. Right. But no, they can't know about it. Shh, don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah, the idea of avoiding current events as a way to sanitize the child's environment. It's not practical. It's not sustainable.
It isn't.
You have to, if you want children to be able to survive in the world, they need to know what to do.
Right? And putting it in a book like this actually allows them to see these things in a very tame and safe environment. They're sitting at home, they are reading a book. The worst thing that could happen is that they ask you a question. Is that they get these ideas and they come and they, hopefully, if you've got kids that, talk to you, they come and talk. I'm lucky enough that my 13-year-old will come and ask me questions. And every once in a while, she'll throw me a doozy and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow,
we're going to address this right now. But you know what? I mean, you can't protect them forever. I'm sorry. You can't protect children forever. No. And you can either, give this information to them in a safe environment where they can read it and then they can come and talk to you about it, or they're going to be exposed to it when they leave your house.
That's right.
They might be, 18 and an adult technically, but without being prepped for these things, without being, addressed and talked to and having a discussion with you, they're going to go out and it's going to smack them in the face and they're not going to know how to handle this.
100%.
Ignoring issues does not make them disappear.
Nope.
In the least bit.
Okay, so we're going to talk this other book that was banned. I wanted to get this right because this one was banned for such a bizarre reason that I really wanted to be sure I got this one right. So the book is titled Brown Bear, What Do You See? I mean, it's the cutest little children's book. And I'm sure that every parent that's listening knows this book.
Or has it memorized.
And it was banned due to lack of research.
Well, you don't really know that the brown bear sees a red bird. You don't know that.
So.
Did you ask the brown bear? Because the brown bear shouldn't be talking to you.
The brown bear is, even though it's a drawing, it's so the author's name is Bill Martin. But you see, he shares a name with another author named Bill Martin, who wrote the title Ethical Marxism, the Categorical Imperative of Liberation. And someone on the board that received the challenge, that started the challenge, thought that they were banning the Bill Martin book, Ethical Marxism. But they banned Brown Bear.
That tracks. Nothing like a
because
clerical error.
They got probably the ISBN number wrong, the identifying number on the back of the book.
Or, they just didn't pay enough attention.
Yeah, some, and so they banned a children's book about a bear. And it was the wrong book.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people banning these books don't actually take the time to read them. And I understand that there's a big difference between Brown Bear and a Marxist ideology book. However, you'd think that if they sat down and took a good gander at the notes in front of them, instead of just skimming and thinking, oh, I know everything I need to know by skimming it, you'd think they'd see the difference. I mean, it's pretty visual.
This brings us to a point, some of the things to consider about book bans. A lot of book bans are actually instigated by parents.
Yeah.
Some of them are. But in 2024, it was found that 72% of censorship demands in libraries and in schools are initiated by either organized groups, public authorities, board members, or administrators. Very often, as well, those people don't even live in those communities in which they're challenging the books. They're not even like community members. Only 16% of challenges were even brought by parents in 2024. And only 5% of the challenges were brought by individual library users.
Oh my goodness.
So this is outsiders coming into a community and telling the community what you have access to.
Yeah.
That's just not fair. I mean, why is that important to you? Why should it be important to you? It should be important because it should make you think about who's really driving the censorship. You think it's concerned parents out there that are doing the banning, that these people are looking at the material, that they're reading the material, and that they're finding a personal issue with it. And in fact, what this is lists that are circulated among organizations with a hidden agenda, and they have a vested interest in trying to control the information that communities have access to. And I think that sort of bid for institutional control by outside interests, knowing that bans are not necessarily grassroots concerns, but that they're coming from outside, I think it's a very important thing to consider when you're looking at what kind of books are being challenged in a community.
You know what? People need to worry less about the content in books and worry more about roughly 60% of the United States can't read.
I mean, this is fair.
I mean, 60% of the United States, and
what they read at like below a fourth grade
below
level?
a sixth grade level.
Below a sixth grade level.
Yeah, that's 12-year-olds. Just in case anyone's wondering, sixth grade is round about 12-year-olds. Roughly 60% of the United States has a reading level at or below a 12-year-old. So why are we so worried about content when we should be worried about the fact that we're basically illiterate as a country?
And bans feed this because it can impact student engagement and it can impact learning. An organization called First Book actually did a survey among educators and found that 81% of book ban conversations and restrictions cause students direct harm, and 72% say reading engagement declines directly as a result of limiting access to materials to students. It undercuts the professional judgment of librarians, of teachers who are experts in the field and understand the impact that a book has on a child's learning cycle.
We've actually read them.
Well, I mean, in the most simplistic terms, exactly. Like this is our arena. This is what we do.
This is what we do, darling. This is what
we do, darling. And also the books that you're hearing about being banned, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh my goodness.
We think about these organizations coming from outside. We think about them coming, but many challenges are not even reported. And there are really no statistics specifically about how many challenges occur outside of these margins because, one, the language can vary. Sometimes a book is banned, it's challenged, it's restricted. It depends on the policy of the jurisdiction. It depends on the policy of the organizations involved. So the fact that language varies so much, when you're aggregating that data, you can accidentally leave things out because they're not part of the data you're pulling because the language is different. This is, data collection is a science, but it's also an art. Many of the reasons are there's no reporting requirement so that challenges actually stay off the national records. Like an organization doesn't have any requirement to report or mention. There's no infrastructure that takes that information and records it. Some books are just quietly removed and not repurchased. And so this is what's called soft censorship. And what that does, the problem with that is it prevents transparent dialogue between people to be able to discuss what are the merits of the book. Is it good or bad? It just disappears from the shelf. And there's, especially in a library I mean, we're small relatively, but we don't know. Unless it's something we're looking for specifically, it's very difficult to know whether a book specific item has disappeared or not. Often there's a fear of backlash, where staff will avoid reporting or speaking about a book that has been challenged or banned, and that creates a chilling effect in schools where books again just disappear off the shelves, and parents don't have an opportunity to voice their opinion about it. There are several other reasons, including administrative removals where they just decide to pull it, and again that's not reported. Maybe the media doesn't cover a particular book ban or a particular book challenge, and so it goes unnoticed. So those are some of the reasons why, even though there are many reported challenges to books, there are that many more, an untold number, that are soft challenged or that are removed from collections without the public or anyone even really realizing it. Well, that brings up another thing. So what are we often doing if a book is banned? You brought this up earlier, they're trying to suppress the information. They're trying to keep the information out of the public arena. Like bad language, children are going to read this book and they're going to start using bad grammar as their regular grammar. But do you know, often what ends up happening is it backfires.
Yeah.
So there is something that the young people, I hear the young people.
I got my grandma glasses and everything.
Grandma glasses, are you ready? On the interwebs, it's called the Barbara Streisand effect.
Oh, and it has nothing to do with her singing. In case you were wondering.
Oh no. So here's what happened. So Barbara Streisand sued to have an aerial photo of her home removed from a public website. Fair. Absolutely fair. Before that, the photo had only been downloaded like 6 times by people. They were like, oh, this is cool, whatever. Once the news of the lawsuit broke, the photograph was viewed over 420,000 times.
Golly gee willikers.
In a single month.
That's great. I love that.
So the Barbara Streisand effect refers to what can happen when you try to suppress an idea, a piece of information, a piece of data, something, and it inadvertently it gets people's attention. The mere act of you trying to hide the thing. This actually happened with a very famous book that was banned, a book called Mouse by Art Spiegelman.
You really should check this out if you have the opportunity. It's a graphic novel. We have it at all the branches.
It's a fantastic book. There are actually, I think there's a couple of volumes in the series. Yes. So in January 2022 in Tennessee, a school board voted to remove this book from its curriculum, even though it's a Pulitzer Prize winning graphic novel.
Very good.
And within 48 hours of that news breaking, it became #1 on Amazon's bestseller list.
Love it.
Because this is what happens. You try to ban something, and people who never heard of it before are like, what's that?
Yeah.
So if your intent is to protect children, and I think maybe Gen Xers understand this better than anyone in a way, because if there was something that our parents forbade us from doing, they also left us alone very much. So
that's fair.
Probably the first thing we went and did was the thing we weren't supposed to do.
That's fair.
And I think that it's not just like a cute little concept or something to laugh about. It's actually a measurable phenomenon.
Yeah,
thank you, algorithms.
Millennials aren't that different. We have the thing of, if I die, erase my Google search history.
I mean, yeah, exactly. In fact, Carnegie Mellon in 2023 did some research, and they found that after a title is banned, circulation in general, regardless of what the title is, increases by 12%. This is a rule. So
people want to know.
you're not really, like, the intended effect
No.
isn't really affecting.
And no. You know, the moment someone tells me, no, you can't know about that,
Yeah.
I'm like, no, about what?
Yeah.
What can I not know about? Now I
Mhm.
want to know everything
Mhm.
about it. I don't care what
Yeah.
it is. I don't care if we're talking about mold on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I want to know everything about it if I'm not allowed.
Absolutely. In 2022, Google searches for
Mhm.
banned books after the banned book week and
Uh-huh.
doubled
Yeah.
worldwide. So, I mean,
Best way to get someone to do it is tell them they can't.
yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
so the idea of using challenges or bans as a means of suppressing information
That's ridiculous.
just is ineffective. I mean,
It does the opposite.
it does the exact opposite. It actually highlights what you're trying to suppress. So, is that an effective strategy? I don't
It
know.
really isn't. And you know, it really does show how we affect our own our own destinies, you know?
Mhm.
Oh gosh. So side note. I was buying Barbies for
Mhm.
Zombie Barbie, which
Mhm.
is a fun program that we do here every so often.
Yes.
And I went to Goodwill and they had a bunch of Barbies for like $1 each. And I bought all these Barbies because we were going to zombify them. And yeah, and then I came back to the library this same day and I counted all my little Barbies and I'm like,
Mhm.
you know, I think I need a few more. I think I didn't get enough. I need a few more. And so the next day I go back in and they're all $2 each now. And I sat there and went, what? And I went to the cashier and I'm like, they were $1 yesterday.
What
She's
the
like,
hey nanny?
I caused my own inflation because I bought so many of them. The Goodwill people were like, oh my goodness, we need to up these prices.
It's a variation on a theme.
Right? You know, so you by banning a book, by saying you can't do that, you're just affecting your own destiny in the opposite direction. Do you know what I mean? You're causing your own inflation. Enjoy that. You
Yeah.
know?
It's just so interesting. I mean, I really think that in a democratic society
Mhm.
where we want people to be able to have access to ideas
The
because,
right ideas.
well, that's the thing is
Yeah.
that, like, who gets to decide what the right ideas are? As we've looked at history, it doesn't stay fixed. The idea, whomever is in charge, as governments fluctuate, as social norms fluctuate, these things fluctuate too.
They do.
And what is considered the norm? Little Women was banned because it showed strong women.
Oh my
Now
goodness.
we look at those women, go, how oppressed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was
yeah,
shocking.
they were strong, independent women.
Yeah, and they found that they didn't want that women of that era to be affected
Mhm.
by seeing other strong independent
Right.
women. They wanted them to still be controllable.
Right. And so when we look at how ideas fluctuate, they just do. I
Mhm.
think that the best way to give people tools to make choices, as we've said, is to provide information so that
Mhm.
people can explore concepts for themselves
Mhm.
and then they can make decisions and choose reading material and so
Mhm.
forth based upon those choices that they've made for themselves. And
Mhm.
that's why, as a library, one of our key directives is to make sure that we serve all members of the community
Mhm.
so that different people who make different choices and have different ideological perspectives
Mhm.
have access to ideas that support their
Mhm.
ideologies and have access to ideas that challenge their ideologies so that they can examine for themselves their own behavior
Mhm.
choices and test whether they are still in ideological alignment with their own values, with their own principles. Perhaps they want to change, perhaps they want to grow.
Mhm.
Who gets to decide that one ideology is superior for all others? This needs to be an individual decision, and all the information needs to be given because the community is all different types of people that are coming from all different types of places and perspectives. And, from our point of view as an organization that serves an entire community, I think it's wonderful that we can offer a place where you can interrogate yourself, interrogate your worldview, and grow. That's what library's about.
That was beautifully put.
Oh,
And
thank you.
so as an organization on our
Mhm.
website, if y'all are curious ever, we do have our collection policy clearly stated
Yes.
on our website. Just go up there and be like, blah, 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 and fart around for a while on the website, and you'll find all this information. I want to read a little piece of this.
Please.
This is our policy on our website regarding
Yes.
the books that we put in our collection. Inherent in the collection development policy is an appreciation for each customer of the Butte County Library. The library does not serve one user's needs or preferences over another. Because the varied viewpoints of our community are represented in the library collection, in some cases, content may be controversial, unorthodox, or unacceptable to others. However, the existence of a particular viewpoint in the collection is an expression of the library's commitment to intellectual freedom, not an endorsement of that point of view. That is on our policy. That's what we refer to when we buy books. We don't choose sides. We don't sit there and go, is this appropriate for children?
As we often say, we don't judge, but we also don't advocate.
Yes, we don't. We're Switzerland. We are completely neutral.
Absolutely.
It's not our job to enforce our opinions on our readers. We don't. We could. I mean, I could, like, when you're checking out a book that I don't agree with, I could go up and be like, are you sure you want to read that? That's Twilight. That has sparkly vampires in it. I don't think that's appropriate for you to read that.
Yeah. Are you a sparkly person?
You're not a sparkly person. You shouldn't be reading this. It's not, no one should read this. No, it's not our job to judge in the least bit. So we provide everything because we
as much as we can.
As much as humanly possible, as much as our budget allows.
Well, there's that as well.
We provide as much as humanly possible, and we take suggestions from the public.
Yes.
And it's not my position to restrict your reading because you are a different person than I am. You have a different point of view than I do.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's the whole don't yuck somebody's yum.
Yeah.
I don't read romance novels.
I love them.
But
I love them.
Why stand in the way of somebody being able to enjoy themselves through literature? Like, I don't understand how that would be my place.
Now, when you get to children's literature and you have, people saying that's inappropriate. That's inappropriate. It shouldn't be in the children's section. Well, then I dare say, let the parents decide for their own children.
Yes.
As a mom, I will come in here with my daughters. We will look through books. If I find one that I'm like, that's a little racy, I will take it and I will read it first because I want to know. And then you have to consider, where's your child coming from?
Right.
How old is your child? What are they seeing on a daily basis? And fun fact, there might be topics that you don't feel comfortable talking with your kids. Their friends are more than comfortable talking about them.
Yep. Somebody's going to broach it with them.
Someone's going to say something. There's going to be some kid whose big sister is going to ride on the back of that bus with them and is going to tell them everything.
And, different kids are like, different material is appropriate for different kids at different ages. I know that I was reading things that most 10-year-olds weren't going to be reading because I was a little weirdo that, wanted to read about the science and the things. But it's up to a parent to know their child and understand that, I think this material, I think words are a little big. I think maybe this is a lot of trauma. I mean, there was a book that actually I was required to read, and I think it probably was in 6th grade or so. And it was a book about a horse. I don't even know what the title was. I have no idea. But the horse was like their mother died, and it was like this traumatic, almost like Bambi style story, right?
Yeah.
And I was reading it in the kitchen, and my mother came in, and I was bawling my eyes out, absolutely like racked with tears. And my mother was like, "What are you reading?" Grabbed it, brought it to the teacher and said, "My daughter is not reading this."
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher said, "Well, it's a classic. And my mother said, "My daughter is not reading this."
Mm-hmm.
That's every parent's prerogative
100%
to
for
be able to say about your own.
your own. There's the one.
Yeah,
Your own child. You
absolutely.
control what your own children reads, and I 100% support that.
100%.
Now, although I'm also saying, your kids are going to be exposed to this at some point in time, I really, as a parent, believe that you should be able to have a say in what your children read.
100%.
For my own children.
Right.
I'm not going to judge what that mother is letting her children read.
Right.
I'm not going to judge what that father is not letting his children read.
Right.
So it's case by case basis, which is why we provide so much.
Absolutely. And that's why we have a collection policy like we have.
We do.
Because we want to be sure that community members are able to access the things they need to access across the entire community,
Mhm.
across all the diversity that the community that exists within the community.
Mhm.
And that's a good thing for everyone.
It really is. Today, we've talked about some surprising tales that have been banned or challenged and the reasons behind them.
It's clear that book challenges aren't just about one generation or one era. They've happened across time, sometimes for reason that sounds unusual now, but sometimes for reasons that still spark debate too.
Mhm. Our hope is that this conversation helped take some of the mystery out of the topic, making it easier to understand why challenges happen and why true access really matters.
At the library, we believe in giving people the freedom to choose what they read. And that's why you'll always find these books, whether in print, digital, or audio, available to borrow.
So nice we have all those forms.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us. Until next time, this is Library-ish.
Thanks. Bye.